In a sprawling mansion perched on the cliffs of Malibu, where the Pacific Ocean roared below, billionaire tech mogul Victor Grayson lay inches from death. 20 of the world's finest doctors, armed with cutting-edge technology and decades of expertise, swarmed his bedside, yet none could unravel the mystery of his rapid decline. Tests were run, machines beeped, and theories flew, but the truth remained elusive. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the opulent estate, a black housekeeper named Evelyn Harris, whose sharp eyes missed nothing, noticed a single detail of fleeting, overlooked clue that would turn the tide and expose what the medical elite had failed to see. Victor Grayson, at 52, was a titan of industry, a man whose name was synonymous with innovation and wealth. His tech empire, Grayson Enterprises, had revolutionized artificial intelligence, making him one of the richest men alive. His life was a carefully curated masterpiece of power and precision, from his tailored suits to his private jets. But now, he was reduced to a frail figure, his once vibrant frame withered under the weight of an unexplained illness. For weeks, he had been battling symptoms that baffled everyone: unrelenting fatigue, erratic heart palpitations, and a strange metallic taste in his mouth that no doctor could explain. The world watched, breathless, as headlines screamed about the billionaire's fight for survival. The Grayson estate was a fortress of luxury, staffed by a small army of professionals. Evelyn Harris had worked there for 7 years, her presence often unnoticed by the parade of high-profile guests and employees. At 38, she was a single mother of 2, her life a stark contrast to the excess around her. She moved through the mansion with quiet efficiency, cleaning rooms, organizing schedules, and keeping the household running smoothly. Evelyn had a knack for noticing details, the way a vase was slightly off-center, the faint smudge on a window, or the subtle shift in someone's mood. It was a skill honed by years of navigating a world that often overlooked her. Victor's condition had deteriorated rapidly over the past month. It began with what seemed like a flu fever, chills, and weakness. But when the symptoms didn't subside, his personal physician, Dr. Alan Kessler, called in specialists. Neurologists, cardiologists, toxicologists, and infectious disease experts descended on the estate, each bringing their own team of assistants. The mansion's west wing transformed into a makeshift medical facility. With 4 drips, monitors, and laptops humming around the clock, Victor's wife, Claire, a former model with a penchant for control, oversaw the operation, demanding answers no one could provide. Dr. Kessler, a silver-haired man with a reputation for brilliance, led the charge. He ordered blood panels, Mr. Is, and CT scans, but every result came back inconclusive. The cardiologist, Dr. Priya Sharma, noted Victor's irregular heart rhythms, but couldn't pinpoint a cause. The neurologist, Dr. Michael Lang, suspected a rare autoimmune disorder, while the toxicologist, Dr. Alina Ruiz, tested for heavy metals, only to find trace amounts that didn't explain the severity of his condition. Theories ranged from viral infections to genetic mutations, but nothing fit. The doctors debated in hushed tones, their frustration palpable as Victor's vital signs weakened. Evelyn, meanwhile, went about her duties, her presence barely acknowledged by the medical team. She overheard their discussions as she dusted the hallways or delivered trays of coffee to the conference room. She listened to their jargon-filled arguments, picking up fragments about idiopathic conditions and differential diagnoses. But what struck her most was how little they seemed to know about Victor himself, his habits, his environment, his life beyond the charts and scans. One morning, as Evelyn cleaned the kitchen, she noticed something peculiar. Victor's private chef, Marcel, was preparing his usual smoothie blend of kale, berries, and almond milk. But the almond milk carton, tucked in the back of the fridge, looked different. It wasn't the usual brand Victor insisted on, the one sourced from a small organic farm in Northern California. This carton was generic, with a label Evelyn didn't recognize. She frowned, her instincts tingling. Victor was meticulous about his diet, especially since falling ill. Why would the chef use a different brand? Evelyn mentioned it to Marcel, who shrugged it off. Supply chain issues, he said. The usual stuff didn't come in this week, but Evelyn wasn't convinced. She knew Victor's routines better than most, his insistence on specific brands, his aversion to anything processed. She tucked the observation away, unsure what it meant, but unable to shake the feeling that it mattered. As the days passed, Victor's condition worsened. His skin took on a grayish pallor, and his breathing grew labored. The doctors doubled down, ordering more tests and experimental treatments. Claire, frantic, hired 3 additional specialists, bringing the total to 20. The media frenzy grew, with outlets speculating about everything from a rare tropical disease to corporate sabotage. Grayson Enterprises' stock plummeted. Whispers of a succession crisis began to circulate. Evelyn continued her work, her mind racing. She thought about the almond milk again, replaying the moment she saw the unfamiliar carton. On a whim, she checked the pantry, where backup supplies were stored. There, she found several more cartons of the same generic brand, all unopened. Something about it felt wrong. She decided to take a closer look. Late that night, after the household had quieted, she slipped into the kitchen and examined one of the cartons. The seal was intact, but the packaging felt flimsy, almost like it had been tampered with. She hesitated, then opened it, pouring a small amount into a glass. The liquid looked normal, but there was a faint, chemical-like smell, nothing like the nutty aroma of Victor's usual almond milk. Evelyn's heart raced. She wasn't a doctor, but she knew enough to trust her instincts. She wrapped the carton in plastic and hid it in her locker, unsure what to do next. The next morning, she approached Claire, who was pacing the living room, her phone glued to her ear. Evelyn waited for a pause, then spoke up. "Mrs. Grayson, I found something odd in the kitchen. The almond milk Victor's been drinking, it's not his usual brand. I think it might be worth checking." Claire barely looked at her, waving a hand dismissively. "Evelyn, we have 20 doctors here. They're testing everything. Almond milk isn't the issue." But Evelyn persisted, her voice steady. "I know it sounds small, but Victor's particular about what he eats. This brand smells strange. I kept a carton if you want to look." Claire sighed, clearly exasperated, but agreed to pass the information to Dr. Kessler. Evelyn handed over the carton, watching as it was passed to an assistant, who set it aside with a skeptical glance. Evelyn felt a pang of frustration. She knew how easy it was for people to dismiss her housekeeper, not a scientist. But she couldn't let it go. That evening, Evelyn did something she'd never done before. She reached out to an old friend, Dr. Marcus Tate, a chemist who worked at a local university. She explained the situation, describing the strange almond milk and Victor's symptoms. Marcus agreed to test the sample unofficially. 2 days later, he called her back, his voice grim. "Evelyn, there's ethylene glycol in this. It's a type of antifreeze odorless, in small doses, but deadly over time. It can cause heart issues, kidney failure, even that metallic taste you mentioned. Someone's been poisoning him." Evelyn's blood ran cold. Ethylene glycol wasn't something that accidentally ended up in almond milk. This was deliberate. She thanked Marcus and promised to keep his name out of it. Her mind raced as she pieced it together. Victor's symptoms had started around the time the new almond milk appeared. Someone in the household had access to his food. Someone who knew his routines intimately. She went straight to Claire, who was in a meeting with the doctors. This time, Evelyn didn't wait for permission to speak. "Mrs. Grayson, I had the almond milk tested. It's poisoned. Ethylene glycol. That's what's making Mr. Grayson sick." The room fell silent. Dr. Kessler's eyes widened. And Dr. Ruiz, the toxicologist, grabbed the carton, examining it closely. Within hours, they sent it to a lab for confirmation. The results came back the next day. Marcus was right. The almond milk was laced with ethylene glycol, administered in small, consistent doses enough to mimic a mysterious illness, but not enough to raise immediate suspicion. The doctors sprang into action, adjusting Victor's treatment to counteract the poisoning. Dialysis was ordered to flush the toxin from his system, and his condition stabilized within days. The police were called, and an investigation began. Suspicion fell on Marcel, the chef, who had been acting strangely, evasive, quick to leave the estate after shifts. Under questioning, he broke down, admitting he'd been paid by a rival executive at Grayson Enterprises to tamper with Victor's food. The rival, desperate to seize control of the company, had orchestrated the slow poisoning, betting that Victor's death would look like a natural tragedy. Victor's recovery was slow but steady. By the end of the month, he was sitting up, his sharp mind returning. He called Evelyn to his bedside, his voice weak but clear. "You saved my life," he said. "They all missed it, but you didn't. I owe you everything." Evelyn, uncomfortable with the attention, simply nodded. "I just noticed something off, sir. That's all." The story spread like wildfire. Headlines shifted from Victor's illness to his miraculous recovery, with Evelyn's name mentioned in hushed tones. She shunned the spotlight,